So with that, ladies and gentlemen, it is my pleasure to officially congratulate the first of three 2017 inductees into the Alberta Business Hall of Fame, Dr. Herb Belcourt.
Herb, don't go into it because you'll fail. And I remember saying to them, what makes you think I'll fail? He says, they all fail. All Native people fail. Now, what a slap in the bloody face is this, you know? Well, there's no way this man's going to fail. And we've proved it. But we took on a hell of a challenge.
You know, from very, very humble beginnings, he's achieved unbelievable heights.
Somebody said, is he a workaholic? I said, yes, very much so. But he knew it had to be done.
I think Herb is one of those unique souls that can see who you're meant to be, even if you can't see it yourself.
He just had this quiet, gentle way about him that when he spoke, you listened.
He's kind of this mix of this quiet, lovely man who also commands attention because of his ideas and the strength that he shows.
I think his life story will be an inspiration to many young people that are coming along, and when they hear the kind of upbringing that Herb had, that he left home at 15, that his dad had more or less said, you know, you've got to be in business on your own, otherwise you'll carry a lunch pail the rest of your life.
He had a construction company that was very successful, and he had moved on from there, and he had a housing corporation.
I do remember how strongly he felt about developing a housing program that would better the living conditions of people. I mean, there's no doubt about it, it certainly succeeded.
It wasn't just about housing. To Herb, it was providing for people to have an opportunity in life to move forward. It was about having life skills courses for those people who lives in those homes. It was about supporting them in many different aspects, not just providing a home for them.
He had a very definite plan in mind that I don't think they ever thought it would be as successful as it did become.
To then take that asset and to sell it and to turn that money into a foundation that now has provided scholarships for over 1,300 Métis students. I say to people when I talk about Herb Belcourt that he has helped thousands of people to find their voice and to find a path that they wouldn't have found without the generosity of Herb and his partners.
Herb believed that if our Métis people were educated, everything else would begin to fall into place.
The Belcourt-Brasso Métis Awards provide full scholarships to Métis students, and I just think that's a wonderful example of his leadership and his salesmanship, and a testament to who he is as a person.
I would say that through the work that Herb did through the Belcourt-Brasso Awards, we've seen an increase in the number of Métis students in all post-secondary institutions.
I believe that Herb had the understanding that if you worked hard, you could get to where you wanted to get, but you also needed to work with the people around you.
Most of us can tell you the one person that had an effect in your life, and I think Herb is that person in many people's lives.
He spoke with such wisdom and gave such great advice. He's no longer on our Aboriginal Advisory Committee, and we miss him.
You know, society does change, and we can move forward. He lived to see what he dreamed of in the past take place.
He was there to provide that helping hand throughout his lifetime. He always has given back to society and also wants to make this a better city, province, and nation in which to live.
Well, be proud of who you are, and the world will be proud of you.
Please welcome 2017 Alberta Business Hall of Fame inductee, entrepreneur, Dr. Herb Belcourt.
I want you to get together. I want you to get together. I want you to get together. Put your hands together one time. I want you to get together. I want you to get together.
Wow.
Well, hello, Carrie.
Well, hello, Dr. Belcourt. There's so much I want to ask you. When I read about you, I have to say I'm overwhelmed by everything you have accomplished and all the people that you've helped. And let me say I'm truly humbled to have this opportunity to sit on stage in front of 1,000 people at the Shaw and ask you a few questions about your career. So thank you for that on such a special evening. So first of all, congratulations from all of us in the room. Let's begin by taking a look back on your career. You know, you built a series of so many successful companies that began, as we heard in the video, about providing affordable housing to thousands of Métis families, and then you liquidated the company, shifted your focus to help hundreds of Métis students get a higher education. Herb, why was helping the Métis people so important to you at a time that no one else was doing it, and why that focus on education?
Well, I've always been proud of who I am. Pardon me, folks. I got a slight cold.
It's okay.
I hope it was. But anyway, when I left home at 15 and a half,
Get that mic nice and close there.
when I left home at 15 and a half, my father gave me a $10 bill and a bus ticket. And he said to me, son, save your money and work for yourself, because if you don't, you'll carry a lunch bucket for the rest of your life. That was my determination. On that bus ride to my first job, I didn't make a promise to my dad. I made a promise to me that one day I will have my own business and I will not be as poor as everybody around in our community. And I guess that stuck with me all my life, and into running in business, I was never negative about anything. Whatever I did, I was entered it with positiveness. And I surrounded myself with a lot of good people. A lot of good people. You can't do things alone in this world. You need advice, good people in boardrooms, people that'll pay attention and the vision that you have. And when the government of Canada said to me, Paul Martin and the whole works of them, Joe Clark, you name them in those days, in our hotel room in Ottawa, they said, Herb, don't go into the housing because you'll fail. And you heard on the video there, what makes you think I'll fail? And the answer was the Native people all fail. Well, I said, gentlemen, watch me. Watch
That
me.
turned into your biggest motivator, didn't it?
Yes, because I believe that the Métis people were always leader in this country right from the 16th century. They were voyagers, they were chief factors for the Hudson Bay. They were as powerful as the premier of this province or any province. And, you know, you look back and I think the Métis people of Canada will be proud, and the people of Canada will be proud of our Métis people. Because today, through education, we invested all this money into education for scholarships and bursaries, and so did a lot of companies. You can't do it alone, like I said. And including Peace Hills Trust, there's the families they've helped as well, and all kinds of companies. They put in money towards the scholarships through the Edmonton Community Foundation. And you know, today we have over 1,000 students out there working. Engineers, they're scientists, we have road scholars, you name it.
So helping them through with their education and the affordable housing, putting that all into perspective, what do you consider to be your greatest achievement when you look back over all those years and the awards and the accomplishments and the life?
Well, Carrie, you never look and see what you've accomplished in life. If you believe in something, you will achieve it. But like I said, you can't do it alone. It takes a lot of people, a big community to raise a big family. And that's what we've done. The three of us, George Brosseau and Orville Belcourt, it wasn't easy. Don't think three people running a company didn't have its problems. Just like a family, we argued too. Don't ever think yourself, we don't. So, but anyway, we managed.
Made it normal.
And, we took on the federal government, we took on the provincial government, and the Métis people themselves. But we succeeded. And today, the Métis people, and also the Canadian people of Canada and this province, are beginning to recognize and being proud of our Métis people. And so will you in the future. Just watch. Just watch.
Herb, you are in a tough battle right now. Diagnosed with stage 4 cancer in December. Yet you were here with us tonight sharing your knowledge and your wisdom, and you weren't sure. We talked to you many times. You weren't sure you were going to make it up on this stage, but you're here. You did it. Just like everything else you did in your life, right? I have to say, there are so many young minds in this room right now. They want to learn from you. They want to learn from your legacy. So, what do you want those young minds and every person in this room, what do you want them to learn from your journey?
You know, we all have a vision, no matter how young we are when we start out. It reminded me when all those young people were up on the stage here this evening, and it reminded me of our 15th anniversary just last fall. We brought in 100 students that were graduated, and they came out in a candlelight ceremony and onto the stage, and the three of us were here just like this. And you have no idea how proud I was to see 100 people out there. We have doctors, lawyers, nurses, engineers of every description. And they're out there running corporations. That makes me very proud, and it shows if you're determined to do something, you will achieve it, but you need people to help you achieve it.
I have to ask you how you've had so many awards over your career and you've touched so many lives. Share with us how you're feeling right now in this moment and what this award.
How am I feeling? Proud. A proud Métis man. And I'm sure there's few of you in this room who are Métis themselves. And whoever you are, it doesn't really matter what nationality you have, be proud of your heritage, because you were born with it, and be proud. These young people are going to be proud when they get an education. The Junior Achievement Awards, of all of the people that are helping and what they are achieving, it makes me feel, gets goosebumps to see what talent these people have. So give them a smile, give them a hand whenever they need it, you know, regardless what it is. Encouragement. We all need encouragement. So I don't know what else to say, Carrie. I know the good Lord
I was told on December the 24th that I had stage 4 cancer. That was a hell of a shock. But they gave me 1 month to live, apparently. That's what they told me. But I've always been bullheaded. So here I am today. I had to be here today. I said that when I went. I said that in Toronto when they gave me the Hall of Fame for Canada here. I wanted to make January I can't remember the date now even. But anyway, in January, and then the province of Alberta, here, the Hall of Fame, City of Edmonton, the county of Strathcona, naming a park after me. They're putting a big plaque with a big stone on it, about 6 foot high stone, with my 2 little grandchildren sitting on my knee. You see it in the film there. You know how proud I am? One day, these little kids will be showing their friends that is my grandpa. And they will be proud young men, 2 identical twins. You have no idea how proud I am. And her mother, my granddaughter here, is here with us tonight, and my grandson, Aslan and Amethyst. I'm real proud, and Barry, I call him my son, Barry Belcourt. And he's got so many friends here. It's Teresa that works for us for the last 12 years, I guess, promoting our program for the Belcourt Brasso through with the Edmonton Community Foundation. Thank you very much, Teresa. You've been a real workhorse. And the people you've surrounded yourself with, thank you. And all the people who said a few words on the screen. You know, I had no idea people were watching you. So,
Herb, allow me to say on behalf of every single person in this room, thank you for all you have given to our city, to our province, and to our country. We are so blessed to have had you in our lives and to share a part of your work.
thank you very much.
What an honor. Congratulations. The amazing Dr. Herb Belcourt. What an amazing human being and an absolute honor to share the stage with you tonight, sir. Thank you again. As Herb gets settled and makes his way off the stage to go celebrate with his beautiful family, we will move on. It is now my distinct pleasure to present our second inductee this evening, Mr. Paul Douglas. Please turn your attention to the screen.
Well, I first met Paul in 1985 when he joined PCL. He was young and full of energy and came into PCL as a construction manager and was working hard to develop himself in this organization and to prove his talents with us.
I started in October 21 years ago, and I had the chance to get to know him quite a lot actually in the early days working with him. I was an estimator and he was involved in projects. I didn't realize it at the time how much of a big deal it was to be able to be with him and learn from him.
Very easy to like, very friendly and energetic, and just a real positive individual.
Paul has a tremendous capability to absorb information and then to act with that information that he's taken in.
He took over as CEO in not the best time, and he had to work his way through that economy. That wasn't a reason for failure. It was a challenge to be successful, and the bar never changed. It was always set very high. He was competitive, and he had an attitude that anything was possible, and he held people accountable. But he also was quite personable, and certainly liked to celebrate the wins.
He values client relationships and trade partner relationships and knows that that's absolutely essential to succeed in our business.
And so because of that, I think that that period that he was here, those relationships between us and our clients really strengthened.
I think one of the key drivers that has helped Paul succeed is the employee ownership model in PCL and how committed he has been to that over the years.
Very understandable. Like, he always had a way of communicating that never left me in doubt as to what his intentions were for himself or the team.
Everything he touched seemed to be with the purpose of succeeding, not exclusively by himself, but as a team.
When he comes into the office, he's got an energy about him and a smile, and it's such a simple thing, but it's not fake.
Paul is the same person when you meet him in a boardroom or when you meet him socially. He's a very authentic individual.
It was fun to be in a battle with him. You could simply watch him and know what the right behaviors were to be successful.
Business is about people. Paul really helped us all show that, rules and policies are necessary for a big organization, but he was quick to put those away if it really meant impact on people.
PCL is the single largest contributor to the United Way here in the Alberta Capital Region. Those kinds of campaigns don't happen without leadership. If you would say to Paul, thanks for your leadership, it's just been a great campaign, his immediate response will be, oh, I don't do very much, it's my employees.
He has a strong inner drive and personal commitment to serve his community, to make it a better place to live.
With an individual like Paul, you can see that nice guys finish first. He's absolutely right from the beginning, he's been a nice guy that's always wanted to do the right thing, and I think that that's his success.
It's about walking the talk. Paul doesn't ask his employees to do anything he isn't prepared to do himself. He's always there and really demonstrating leadership through his own actions.
And now he's really, really committed as chairman of the board to the opportunities for young people to have that he had when he was just starting out.
Paul has served this organization and our communities across Canada for many, many years. That's not an easy task with the demands of the job that he's been in. I believe he's done an incredible job of doing just that.
Please welcome 2017 Alberta Business Hall of Fame inductee from PCL Family of Companies, Mr. Paul Douglas.
Wow. First of all, congratulations.
Well, thank you, Carrie.
Once again, truly honored to share this stage with you tonight. Just like Herb, you have a resume and a list of accomplishments that goes on and on and on. And your story is just a brilliant example of someone who kept climbing the ladder until you got to the top, first with Don Ellis and then with PCL. So business stuff aside, just for a moment, I want to begin with sports. Let's talk sports, shall we? Because I know that you are a natural athlete. And back in the day, football was your sport. And I understand that you said that you credit the sport for teaching you how to become a leader. So what were those lessons that you learned on that football field, and how did they help you throughout your brilliant career?
Yeah, I am a big believer that sport really teaches people a lot about life and leadership. And I think, especially if you play at a competitive level, you know what it takes to win. There are just so many good athletes, good people out there, and that if you're going to win, you've got to do something different. You've got to be innovative. You've got to work your butt off. And then what I found was I would almost gravitate to being the captain of the teams, whether it was hockey or football. And football was my passion, though. And then in leading, even on the field, it taught me a number of leadership skills. Many, and you know, we spend a lot of time on leadership training at PCL. The more skills and tools you can put in your box, the better. And this taught me more of the rah, smash your helmets against each other type of leadership. You lead by example, and you pump everybody up, and that has a certain impact in a leadership style for sure.
I appreciate you sharing that with us tonight, because there's a lot of parents in the audience, and we always wonder, you know, we put our kids in sports, and some of those greatest life lessons are learned when they are playing sports. So thank you very much for sharing that. You are just at the beginning of a new role as chairman of the board of directors at PCL. I'm curious, how is that adjustment going for you after such a long, brilliant business career, and then, of course, the last 8 years as CEO of Canada's largest construction company? Is it a bit of an adjustment?
Should probably ask my wife, Kathy. It is an adjustment for sure. It's huge. It's you know, when you move from CEO in a head of operations basically into a more governing role as chairman, you have to flip a switch. Yeah. And you know, I think that's difficult for some people, including me. And you know, so I think it's still something that I'm learning. I'm going to continue to learn. When you leave, you feel like you still have an ownership of a number of decisions that were made during your time, and it's hard not to jump in. But when you see our new CEO, Dave Philipchuk, doing such a fabulous job in taking that over, it's not going to be too hard for me to back off, and as I have. But yeah, I'm learning.
Mind is put at ease when you entrust it to other great minds. So let's take a look back on your career for a second. And I'm curious, Paul, what would you consider to be perhaps one of the biggest milestones or hurdles that you faced in your career, and how did you conquer it?
There's probably two that I can either give more of a personal challenge or more of a business challenge.
Give us both.
Okay. The personal challenge was realizing that the leadership skill that I learned from sport, which is a pretty aggressive leadership style, doesn't necessarily work in all situations, and you've got to keep learning about leadership and keep learning new and different skills to be able to engage and empower all different types of people, not just the type A football players out there that are all working just as hard as you. A lot of people are driven by different things, and when you get into a big company, you sure have to try to be empathic to their needs and what drives them, and so learning some additional skills was very important, and so PCL was great to recognize that, give me a great mentor in Ross Grieve, put me through some training, and really enhance my skills to be a better leader. And you never stop learning.
No, despite all the changes we go through in life. I want to talk arenas, Paul. I have to go here. I'm so curious. I know you were at the helm in Ottawa when they built their arena in perhaps a not so friendly political environment. I think Bob Rae had just taken over in the government, the NDP, so there were some challenges, and especially there with the economy. And then you're also at the helm of our $660 million jewel that now sits in downtown Edmonton that many people said was built against all odds. So I'm curious, when you drive by these iconic structures that in many ways define a city, how does it make you feel? Like when you see what's going on at Rogers Place right now with the Oilers, what does it make you feel? What lessons did you learn along the way to turn these projects into successes?
Well, without a doubt, you feel tremendous pride as an individual and on behalf of your company and on behalf of every tradesperson that was involved in that job. I think that is something that's so unique and special about the construction industry. It's so tangible, and we do build so many significant things that change the way our communities operate. And Rogers Place is one of the best examples for sure. But you know, I've seen it, that it doesn't matter whether you're the laborer, the carpenter, everybody goes home to their family, drives by the Rogers Centre, and they say, I built that. Oh. You know, we all take personal pride in all of our contributions because it does take a massive team to build these facilities. And but we can all take our own individual pride in being whatever part we were of it, for
That's
sure.
a beautiful way to put it. I know you talked a lot tonight about leadership skills and how important it was for you to learn that and diversify as you grew in your career. For the young business entrepreneurs in the audience and our students, what other advice would you have for them as they continue to build their businesses and their careers?
Well, I have to just say what great advice I've already heard from even the very young
Sam?
business entrepreneurs that grabbed the mic there today. I guess there's a few things that, particularly these days, embrace change. Change is happening at such a rapid rate these days, and so it's going to happen whether you like it or not, and it can be a challenge or it can be an opportunity. So you take change and make sure it's an opportunity. You seek out change, you lead change, and then I think you've got a better chance of really making something positive out of that change. Second is, and I heard some people talk about it as well tonight, is establishing meaningful, caring relationships. You know, these buildings are fun, they're great inanimate structures, but at the end of the day, what I think about now as I'm retired is all of the relationships that I've established across the country in doing these. And that's special, and that's meaningful, it's significant. And by the way, those relationships, you share best practices, you solve problems together. Life is just a better world in doing so. And there's probably, maybe I'll just close with knowing your value system, I think, and making sure that you stick to your values. You know, I think sometimes business gets a bad rap, and publicly business is not as popular as it was maybe 20 or 30 years ago. And it's because some didn't establish what their value systems were and live by them. And I think do so when you lead your young, small companies. Make sure you live it and breathe those value systems and that everybody else knows it. And if you're joining a big company, make sure your value systems align with their value systems. And then at the end of your career, you will feel very proud of what you were able to accomplish.
Brilliant. Paul, congratulations from all of us in this room. You are such a champion of our community. We're so fortunate for your leadership. Thank you for all you've done to put Edmonton in a league of its own.
Thank you a lot, Carrie.
Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Paul Douglas. Brilliant. Wow. I should have said we were going till 10 o'clock tonight. We spent an hour talking to each of these. Aren't they brilliant? Oh, wow, I'm loving these conversations. On that note, we will move along to congratulate our final laureate, Dr. Prem Singmar, for his induction into the Alberta Business Hall of Fame.
You know, a friend of mine told me that Prem is a tough negotiator. And I told him that no, you're using the wrong word, that he is a shrewd negotiator.
Not only is he a businessman, a community organizer, an influencer, he is also an intellect.
I came to this country from halfway around the world, where Prem had been a eye surgeon, I think a very successful eye surgeon in India.
There were significant issues between any countries with the recognition of credentials. They instead chose to start up a chicken farm.
When I first heard that from him, I was like, Dr. Sigmar as a chicken farmer. This is very interesting. But I think what it showed is the industriousness of him and his wife Siraj, and that anything is possible as a new immigrant.
One of the major challenges for Prem and his family was spotting the opportunity and then acting on that opportunity. In this case, the development of hotels in underserviced areas.
He saw that Fort Saskatchewan didn't have any hotels. So in 1998, he actually built the very first hotel in Fort Saskatchewan after decades of not having one. He has the ability to see what a community needs, and based on that, he finds opportunities.
His hotel business is now one of the major hoteliers in the Edmonton area.
Prem, as he made his choice on where to locate his next hotel, this Hyatt Place project, and he located it in the quarter section. He could have located it in other parts of downtown Edmonton, but instead it was, how do I launch a major project but also help bring up that part of the community by putting in a really beautiful signature project in that location in the city.
It's an iconic design, very complex to build. And what people don't know is Dr. Sigmar was the general contractor on that project. You know, this is very impressive for a specialist doctor to take on architecture and engineering.
He takes tremendous personal interest in the design, the construction, implementation of hotels, how they're run. He's very much a hands-on entrepreneur.
I believe what is most unique about Prem Sigmar is his world view of life and people. He is a man that doesn't understand what bigotry is. He's a man that embraces everyone, everything, and does things to make things better.
When I look at his background, and you consider that he came from northern India, he was lucky enough to be sent to medical school. And I think that training of helping people, combined with his upbringing, the environment that he was brought up in, is the drive for him to do his charitable work.
Prem and Siraj Sigmar have made a significant contribution to Norquest College, and I can tell you his involvement in Norquest College is much, much more than a donation. It's a long-term commitment to every student who comes to the college.
He donates his time, his money, and his leadership because he wants to see young people try.
He wants to lead in a way that says, as an immigrant to this country, I've had incredible opportunities, and I want people to follow by being involved in the community.
He really has brought light and vision to a lot of people in our community, not by going out and preaching, but by doing things and by example. My number one title for Prem Sigmar, my dear friend, would be the Renaissance Man.
Please welcome 2017 Alberta Business Hall of Fame inductee from Sigmar Group of Companies, Dr. Prem Sigmar.
Prem, here we are. We were just talking on the phone a few weeks ago about this. Let me begin with heartfelt congratulations.
Thank you very much.
We had such a great conversation on the phone. You were just so humble, though. And when we chatted and we talked about your career, I heard a lot of, oh, Carrie, that was nothing, and I was just making a small investment there. But I know the crowd's going to agree with me when I say this. You have given our city so many incredible gifts over and over, so we're going to talk about them in the most humble way possible, okay? Are we good with that?
Sure.
Okay. Came to Edmonton 1985 from India via Libya, where you were an eye surgeon. But when you began your career here, you started a chicken farm near Redwater. I am curious, why didn't you practice medicine, and what led you in the direction of a chicken farm, and how did it go?
Maybe they teach chicken farming in India in medicine. Maybe that's how we started. But well, when we landed, me and my wife landed in Canada, or it was in States. We called Canadian High Commissioner in LA, and we said, how can we get? We want to go to Canada. So they said, well, if you go to Canada, they have a new program, which is entrepreneurial immigration. So with my background, family background in farming, we tried to find out what's the best farming practice in Canada, and they said, well, this dairy or chicken or what, these are the better ones. So we landed in Calgary, I think, on 28th of March, 1985, and we bought the farm on 29th of March. So when we reached there, we talked to the farmer, and we said how much he wants, and we gave him a check, and then he didn't have the carpet in the house. So he said, should I put the carpet? And I said, well, I thought that's where the farmers live in Canada. So I said, no, you don't worry, we'll take care of it. So we bought the farm, but within 5 months, on 15th of October, it was -35. And our septic system froze, our heating system froze, our well froze, everything froze. And then you learn very fast.
But you kept on going.
So, and it was a good business, good experience, a little different. And then after a year or so, we thought we should try to diversify, sort of thing. So we had by the time we made some friends in Edmonton, and we talked to a guy, and he says, well, daycare is a good business. So I looked in the paper, and there was a daycare on sale in Fort Saskatchewan. So I called the guy, and I got the directions to go to Fort Saskatchewan. And then we went there, and the daycare was on sale for $43,000. So we bought it, or I bought it, and I phoned my wife in India, and I said, I bought a daycare. And she said, what's a daycare? I said, I don't know what's a daycare, but they say it's a good business. So that's how it started.
Oh, we could go on about that, but I'm going to go ahead because we know, in the interests of getting everything in time, I know you are so passionate about the city, and you've given Edmonton so many incredible gifts. In the video, we heard about your donation to Norquest and to the University of Alberta, and your most recent gift, and I'm going to use that language because I think it's fitting to say the beautiful Hyatt Place downtown in the quarters is a gift, because you put the first hotel in our city in 25 years. You were the first developer to build in the quarters, and you did it in the middle of a recession. So tell us about your vision and your philosophy for Edmonton, because it fits into why you would do something like this.
Well, I think the idea came from my son, Gaurav, and he said we should try to do something in downtown Edmonton. So we phoned the city and met with Gary Clason, and he was very excited, well, why don't you do something? So as we went, and Stephen Mandel was very, very helpful, very encouraging. And then we told him that we will do something really nice from outside, I mean. So we talked to Gene Dubb, and he's a very creative, very innovative person. But the bad side of it is when we went to the franchises, none of them wanted to take the hotel. They said it's too good. It doesn't fit in our franchise system. So eventually we found out that Hyatt is not in Edmonton, and then we went to Hyatt, and they thought it was going to be a $500 a night hotel. And we said, no, it's Edmonton, not more than $200. So, so we came down on what they call as a limited service hotel. So then we landed up making Hyatt, and it's 40 years after, not 25, it's been 40 years since another hotel is built. So, but the idea was that if we go that side of east side of Edmonton, then it gives some impetus to other people to go in that direction. In my vision, from 82nd Street to 124th Street is downtown. And that's how I look at it in near future, that's how we should be growing.
It's a beautiful piece, and it has beautiful views from up there. So thank you for investing in that part of our community. And on that note, we did talk about, in our conversation, you said that being prosperous means giving to your community. Explain what you really meant by that and why it is so important to you.
See, I'm a conservative, So when we did this hotel, Stephen Mendel asked me, what do you want for, so I said, I'm conservative, I shouldn't be getting anything from the taxpayers. So that's how, so it goes back to somebody like Ayn Rand. And it's a philosophy of conservatism that you work hard, once you become prosperous or when you have something, then you work with the community. Now, the reason we are successful here is not for any other reason, but because there's a very beautiful system in place. It's easy for us to come from outside and then work within that system, and that system let you work well. If you're lucky, little to some extent, if you work hard, it's easy to work. Because somebody in last 100 years have made a beautiful system in this country, and we all get advantage of that.
Which is beautiful. That's what being a community is all about. I know as well you're very passionate about the arts. Why is this so important to you, and why should we all take an interest in them, do you think, and support them?
For the societies to grow and to get to the next level, education, art, culture, these are important things. Now, for our city, what we got 1 million people. I always think about Chicago, and I say, how can we be Chicago? They have the same good or bad weather as we have, and they are sitting at 8 or 10 million people. So what are they doing which we are not doing, and what can we do? So going back to this, that education is very, very important for any society to grow. And once you come to a certain level, then all these theaters, arts, cultures, museums, art galleries, all these are very, very important. And they give so much to our communities to grow and get to the next level.
You know, Prem, you're such a massive supporter of our community. I'm going to add comedian to your list of talents too, because I didn't know you had that side until we sat down tonight. But you're also a fierce family man. And tell us about the support of your wife when I asked you. What is your wife?
Well, my wife let me do anything I do, and says, do whatever you can. And so she's very, very kind, very, very supportive.
And your son?
Very supportive. And we have a granddaughter, and she's very supportive. She always comes to our functions.
And she's changed your life. She's got you wrapped around her finger now.
Yeah, well.
Yeah. So finally, what's left on your list of things to do? What's next? What big structure are we going to see in Edmonton next?
I don't know. We'll have to wait for the economy to turn around, and we'll see.
But you've never waited before. Why now?
There's maybe getting old, you know.
You're going to play that card? Forget about it. We'll never buy it. You've done way too much. Prem, on behalf of all of us in this room, thank you for your amazing investment in Edmonton, all the beautiful gifts you have given us, and for your vision. We truly appreciate it.
Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, Dr. Prem Singh Mar. Thank you.